Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm going to show you how I make these little mushroom boy charms. I love them. I filmed the whole tutorial on one of these little guys as I was making them. I have 3. They're going to be on my next shop update, which always is linked down in the description. My shop is, but yeah, these will be on the next one. I adore them. They very much remind me of Toad from Nintendo. Toad was always my Super Mario Kart character that I would choose, and do anyone remember like Toad's sister used to be a pink one as well? But basically there's been these little mushroom boys kicking around on loads of different brands at the moment, especially like Jellycat. They've brought out a little plush which I desperately need. I seen it in store. I'll leave a little picture on the screen because it is so cute, and there was a pink one of that. And then when I was in hobbycraft, there was also a little set of like a fairy set or something, and that had these little mushroom guys in as well, a pink one and a red one again. And I was like, you know what, I need to make some little charms like that. So I made just the little red ones for today's video. Basically, if you want to make a pink one too, you can just switch out the colours, but I thought I'd make it on screen, give you a little bit of inspo, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy watching the tutorial and how I made these little mushroom guys. So to make the mushrooms, I actually had 2 small balls of polymer clay, around about this sort of size, just over a centimetre I would say. With one of them, I ended up rolling it out kind of in this little like jelly bean shape, and I just kind of slightly pressed it down onto the ceramic tile that I was making this piece on. I then took a small piece of craft wire. I just cut this off using these like little mini pliers with a little kind of wire cutter bit in it. I stuck the wire right down through that first jelly bean size. Then I went over with the other small ball and just pressed it down into my tile again, making it into like this flat circle mushroom top shape. I then popped that on top of the wire, so the wire then was running through the base piece up into the top piece of the mushroom just to kind of reinforce it. Then just shaped out the mushroom piece a little bit just to make sure it was all the right size, and once I was happy with that, I then went ahead and added the feet and the little kind of arms to the little mushroom boy. So I ended up taking 2 tiny balls of polymer clay, just popping them on as the feet, and then 2 even smaller balls of polymer clay and just popping those on as the arms like so. I just blended them really kind of slightly just with my finger, nothing special. I then just went in and just made sure that everything was right, just like making sure that the mushroom top was nice and shaped, just kind of put it to the side a little bit. Then I just made sure all the hands and feet and everything like that were right, and inserted an eye pin into the top, and then I baked the piece. So I baked it at 110 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, this one, because it was quite chunky. Once it was out of the oven, cooled down, I just took my ceramic tile that I paint on with a piece of blue tack and held it in place via like the head part of the mushroom. I painted the body using a beige kind of colour acrylic paint, just in a slightly lighter shade than the original colour of clay. I paint my charms all for loads of reasons, but it just makes it look nicer in my opinion, so I painted that. Then I just glazed that paint down using some UV resin, so just covered the whole entire piece with UV resin. As you can see here, when it's on a tile, you can get all round, all up and down and in that clay piece, and I just kind of cured that with my UV nail lamp like so. So once that was glazed and cured, I then went in and painted the red acrylic paint on. I used this kind of really flat but big paintbrush. I'm not sure why looking back, but hey, it goes to show if you don't have tiny paintbrushes, you can still paint like stupidly little tight areas and little details. You just have to go really slow and have a lot of patience with it. So I painted on the kind of like circle part which met the original color to begin with, then painted the rest of the back piece. I glazed that down again just to make sure that none of that paint would run, and then I went back to the kind of head of the mushroom again. So once that was obviously, you know, the red acrylic paint had dried, I glazed the bottom part. Once that was glazed, I then went in and I actually took like a nail buffer and just buffed away those edges of paint. A lot of people ask me how I get like my paint to kind of go smoothly all over. Obviously I'm painting it in different parts still, but doing this really does allow for like a nice smooth finish in between layers, especially with acrylic paint, because it can sometimes dry like with like a few paint lines in it, or just like, you know, that. But to get a smooth thing, that's what I did. I used a nail buffer and I just kind of buffed away the lines and then just painted the rest in. Again, I used that stupidly big paintbrush. I could have used a smaller one, but apparently I was just sticking with it. And then I just glazed all of the red acrylic paint in. I do like to glaze between each layer, so I'm figuring that out. Like, I find just a really thin coat of UV resin between each layers of solid paint and between the details. It really does help to prolong the piece and just, yeah, I don't know, just, I that's the way I do it. I found it a lot easier. So with a Posca paint pen then, this is the PC3M white Posca pen. It's the one with like the felt nib on. I just went in and put the dots on. I always make sure to glaze before using a Posca paint pen because I find the Posca paint pens like go on smoother and a lot nicer than just straight on the acrylic paint. Sometimes it cracks a little bit if you don't glaze, so I find if I glaze, then put the Posca paint pens on and then glaze again after to seal it all in. That way is like the perfect way. Well, that's what I found anyway, with my experience. So I put all those dots on. I then glazed it again, surprise, surprise. But actually on the top of the mushroom this time, I actually put on a clear glaze and then I put on one with a tiny bit of glitter in. So the tops of them are slightly glittery, a little bit less than I usually do. I'm just liking that kind of like toned back glittered effect at the moment, just a tiny touch of glitter. To finish off the piece, I just added a little tiny face using a Posca paint pen. Then I did a whole coat of glazing, again all over the piece with UV resin. So now that I have the charms complete, I did actually make 3 of these while I was filming this tutorial. Really happy with how they've turned out. These will be on an upcoming shop update, but until then, I'm just going to show you how I put them together. So when I have the charms complete, I do use these findings here. So I use a double split ring. This here is a 7mm one I think I usually buy, and I usually buy like a 6 to 7mm lobster class as well. So they're both quite small. In fact, these ones here might be 10mm. I think this is a 7, these are 10. Sorry. And what I do is I use a split ring plier. Basically, the end of these pliers has like a little indent bit, which kind of goes in between the 2 split rings and it splits it open. And then you're able to kind of hook that on. So I just press with my finger like so, hook it on. I take another set of mini pliers and I just twist that through and around just until it's about there. Take the lobster clasp, pop that on the end. So that's on the split ring. And then I twist the split ring around a couple of times until the lobster clasp is right in and the split ring closes, and that basically then just secures the lobster clasp on there. I like to use double split rings for that very reason because I think they're a lot more secure and then you've got less chance of losing your charm. I cannot tell you how many times like a regular split ring has failed me and then I've been left with just like a lobster clasp left on, just where the charms kind of like come apart with a single one, but with the double one obviously it works kind of just like a little keychain, and I really like that. So yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed today's video watching me put together these little charms. Hopefully the tutorial was nice and clear for you so that you're able to kind of make your own maybe, or just take away a little bit of inspiration. I don't know, do whatever you want basically. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in and I will see you very soon for another one.